Good afternoon. It is Tuesday, January 11th. Made it through another full day at work. At this point, I'm doing pretty well. Symptoms are continuing to reduce. In fact, this morning I'm getting ready and I grab my deodorant and I think to myself, wait, why would I waste any deodorant? I can't smell, and I can't smell me, there's no one else around. Why waste deodorant? And so I do this. And I can smell. And so I found out this morning my sense of smell has already returned, which is nice, because I think the first time I had COVID, it took a while for it to come back. But so I noticed it was gone on Sunday. It's now Tuesday, and it's already back. Awesome. Recovering quickly. And in general, feeling better. It's movie day, and while I say I'm feeling better, I'm still a little bit down. Like, there's a few movies that I'm like I'd love to get back into James Bond, but same as last week, I would have loved to get back into it. But I'm just not feeling top notch, and I'm like, I don't want to. Same reason I kind of chose the movie I chose last week. I don't want to choose a movie that I feel like I'm really gonna like this movie when I don't like how I feel. Because then I won't enjoy it as much because I wasn't feeling as good. So today, I'm going to watch Fantastic Four. So if I don't like it as much because I don't feel so good, it's fine. I might not like it anyways. And this is the old one. This is the... I'm sure there's a year on here, right? Copyright 2005. Fantastic Four. I seem to recall it being a bit cheesy. Maybe that's the way to describe it. I don't know. But I'm going to watch it, and I'll talk about it afterwards, because that's how I do movie day. And I would give Fantastic Four, 2005, a 5.3 out of 10. It's exceptionally mediocre. I mean, it tried. See here, Jessica Alba, Michael Chiklis, and Chris Evans had a sexy, star-powered cast in this explosive adventure about a quartet of flawed, ordinary human beings who suddenly find themselves with extraordinary abilities. After exposure to cosmic radiation, 4 astronauts become the most remarkable, if dysfunctional, superheroes of all time. Unfortunately, the mission's sponsor has also been transformed into the world's most lethal supervillain, setting the stage for a confrontation of epic proportions, packed with non-stop action, awesome special effects, and irreverent humor. Fantastic Four is exhilarating fun from start to finish. Yeah. It's... I mean, alright, so they mentioned the special effects. And I feel like the special effects would, in fact, have been pretty cool at the time, but they do not hold up. Visually, the special effects just... They suffer from being extremely dated, which is common. I mean, there's a few movies that have special effects that manage just to still look pristine, you know, ages later, but it's an older movie, and the special effects look like they're from an older movie. So, but I mean, they were doing some cool things with them for the time, so I'll give them that. And I mean, they meet the beats for telling a story. They have some fun puns. Puns are nice. You know, they throw out the pseudoscience stuff, and like I think like in the beginning they mentioned something about it being like an elemental storm, which makes sense because you know you got the Fantastic Four, and obviously you got Earth and you got fire, but you also have air and water in Sue Storm being air, Reed Richards being water, They're just not quite as immediately evident. But yeah, so they mention elemental storm. I mean, not actual elements, and they're scientists. They mean the Greek elements. But whatever. They're trying. They say things. Yeah, they're dysfunctional. They say things like the most lethal supervillain. They simply, there is so much that they're trying to do in such a short time. Like, they don't set up. They set up that the supervillain is a guy that has some power and has access to some technology and is really throwing a temper tantrum because, boo-hoo, my company's failing because I made a bad investment in Reed Richards. Now I'm going to make him pay. He's a whiny baby. He feels like a whiny baby. It's like, the most lethal. I mean, yeah, he's clever. But, I mean, his power is metal. Except it's also electricity. Except, I don't know. I don't know. I just watched the movie and I still don't know. He's Metal Man, but also electricity is kind of what I get out of it. And I'm like, why? You're doing all your technobabble? Any technobabble about that? No? Okay. Sure. And I think some of probably the biggest issue I have with it. Sure, the special effects are old. Sure, things are really rushed as far as the progression of the story, and things kind of get lost in the shuffle. You're trying to do too much too quickly, and it's falling apart. The biggest issue I have is that their dysfunctional issue is a human issue. It is based on human interact with other human. Time and again, it just feels wrong. Like, it doesn't feel like that's how one human reacts to that other human. From the beginning, when when the Thing's wife is leaving him, like, I get her initial reaction to the shock. Fine. But then he's hero, everyone else is cheering, and she isn't the I still need more time. She is the take off ring and leave on the ground. Don't even talk to him. It doesn't feel like I don't get that reaction. I get that she's still having issues, but she is very calm and decided, and this is our divorce proceedings, and I'm like, you built it up like you'd had a relationship, but at the point where she can accept, this is actually my husband been turned to rock, there's no talk to him and see, hey, what happened? Just walk away. Which, I guess maybe if, earlier on, they'd been talking about how rocky their relationship was, and they could have gotten a good pun in for it, too. I just did that one by mistake. But if they'd done that, then maybe you could see it. But leading up to that, time and again, his relationship is in his discussions with Reed is like, oh, that's a solid foundation. I mean, come on, the puns. You know what? Maybe they don't get credit for the puns. They might not have even been doing those on purpose. They might have just come out by mistake. So I didn't believe that. And then Victor comes and he turns the Thing against Reed. Oh, you weren't in here slaving away. I'm not even going to listen to you about what you've discovered. I'm going to throw a temper tantrum and storm off, and I'm not buying it. That's not the relationship that they have had up to this point. There is trust. There is acceptance that the other person in it has flaws and that you're going to have to work through them. That is what that relationship between, is it Ben and read has been founded on at this point. It made it clear. And then all of a sudden, when it's inconvenient for the plot, nope, that's not the kind of people they are anymore. I don't know. It's those interpersonal relationships that it just feels like they're not acting like people. Like the people in the writing room were sitting there being like, what'd be cool for to happen? Yeah, this should be cool. But that's not how people act. But it's cool. It makes the story so much easier. Complex human emotions are complex. Let's make them caricatures. And so that's probably the biggest issue I have with it. But there was some cool, like, superhero stuff. And as someone who's, slowly running a superhero campaign with Mutants and Masterminds, it was cool to see. I'm glad I watched it. But, yeah. That's all I really gotta say about that. There's lots more superhero movies on the shelves. And that said, none of the Marvel Cinematic Universe are on here. Part of me has thought about getting it. Part of me has thought, gee, it'd be nice to get, except I'm working on this shelf. And this shelf is an M. And man, would that Marvel Cinematic Universe take up a lot of weeks and make it hard to finish this shelf, so... But at some point I do want to get to it. Besides, I got, James Bond series to finish. And I guess working on that shelf after that, Harry Potter series. But, I like superhero movies. Even cheesy, mediocre ones are fun to watch. I'm continuing to recover. Slower than I like, but grateful for the progress that I do make. Thank you for joining me, and join me as my journey continues.